All right then, those two samples have been in the freezer for just over an hour. So this one is still soft. We just get the temperature of the sand there. Takes a while for this thermometer to settle, it's quite slow. Meantime, this one is pretty hard, as you can see. It's frozen in that part there. Let's try that part. It's about minus 0.8, perhaps maybe a little bit colder than that. So that 5% sand that we add, salt that we added, is giving us protection, minus 1.1 there, down to the sort of minus 1, minus 1.2. We're just getting a bit colder now over this area, minus 1.3, minus 1.4. That area's quite frozen. Let's just try and get the temperature of that. Minus 1.7. So 5% sand, that's 5% by weight of water content, not sand, is giving us protection probably down to about minus 1.5 degrees. But this sand isn't quite frozen. The colder areas of it are frozen, but if that was an entire track and we mixed the sand in well, the track would not have frozen and we'd be able to come to it and work it down the next morning in the normal way. This sample of sand is going to be roughly the same temperature, I think. We should be able to test that, but it's frozen much more firmly. That's actually reading a higher temperature, about 1 degree, but it is fairly firm. Now let's just try adding salt to that now and see what happens. Probably roughly a similar amount of salt. Okay. And so at the moment, at least, not a lot. That surface is still pretty hard. The reason for that is that salt doesn't actually defrost ice that is already frozen or already formed. When salt is used on roads, it's frequently put on before the water freezes, if possible. That's why you see the gritting lorries out the sort of late afternoon in the winter months. They're trying to get the salt and the grit onto the road before it actually freezes. Once it's frozen, salt will not defrost water that's already there, that's already formed into ice. It works on roads if cars drive over the area frequently, because the pressure of the tyres on the road generates heat, which melts the water, melts the ice on the very surface of the road. The salt will then dissolve into that water, and gradually, as more and more tyres go over the road, you will get a deeper and deeper layer of water, and more of the ice will melt. It doesn't work on dog tracks because that just doesn't happen. If we try now to rescue this track, having come into it in the morning and it's frozen, we're going to try and harrow this track now. Bear in mind, this is only minus about 1 degree, something in that kind of area. As you can see, the salt is having no effect on that at all. It's still rock hard. All we're doing now is breaking that up into lumps. Okay, not a great success. We're not going to get that into a workable track. If we do, it's probably going to be quite dangerous. We've got solid lumps of sand in that. That just isn't going to work. We've lost control of that situation. What we should be doing is, if we know a track's going to freeze or we suspect there's going to be a frost, is putting the salt on the day before, when the track is actually wet, so the salt can dissolve into the water on the surface of the track and stop it forming ice. Once you have got the ice, you will not defrost it with salt. Okay.